the Democratic Republic of the Congo, millions have died and hundreds of thousands of women raped since a civil war began there more than a decade ago. But amid the violence is a group of people determined to use the power of dance to spread a message of peace. We take you on stage with the National Ballet of Congo, who hope that their work will inspire change. Here's our story. In a large open theatre in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC, dancers rehearse a scene from a new ballet the likes of which have never been seen here before. It is just days before the premiere. But while this production, which fuses traditional African rhythms with a very modern approach to choreography, has all the drama of a classical ballet, it has little of the fantasy. That's because its movement, music and story are designed to express a harsh reality, one that has plagued this war-torn nation for years: sexual violence.
Dance is a strong vehicle for relaying messages like this because there's something about movement that is older than language.
This is the story of how the love of dance, the power of art, and the deep desire of a group of people from very different backgrounds came together to try, in their own way, to bring some change to a country in peril. It all began with the National Ballet of Congo and a small but powerful woman director who came from a world away, in New York City. Carmen Nicole Smith is a classically trained dancer. Convinced that dance had the power to transcend language and boundaries, she travelled more than 10,000 kilometres to Kinshasa, the DRC's capital, as a cultural envoy through the United States State Department. There she would spend a month learning about the culture and creating a new ballet.
I started reading some history and tried to learn about what kind of issues were facing women there. We hear a lot about the Civil War, and you hear a lot about the rapes in Congo.
A civil war which, according to UN estimates, has left some 5 million people dead as a result of fighting, diseases and starvation since 1998. Rape has become a weapon of war here, with hundreds of thousands of women believed to have been attacked since the conflict began.
This is very much seen as collateral damage of war.
Margot Wallström is the United Nations Special Representative on Sexual Violence in Conflict.
I think it has to do with the attitudes that this is inevitable as one of the weapons or tactics of war.
But the more Carmen Nicole Smith learned, the more she came to believe that this ballet would have to address not only the issue of sexual violence in conflict, but also the deeply entrenched attitudes about inequality between men and women in the DRC.
Women in Kinshasa are really less than zero. What can I say?
Mugolomi Solange is one of the dancers with the National Ballet.
The gender violence that's inflicted on women disturbs us because we never spoke about this in Kinshasa. So it was kept in.
But Solange and the other dancers, both male and female, began to speak out, and the insights they shared became essential to the ballet's storyline, one recounting the painful inequalities between men and women.
Here in the DRC, women don't have the same status as men. Women are people who have nothing. Their role is in the home. They don't have the right to speak.
This dancer, Kititwa Asina, sees the ballet as a way to encourage women in the DRC to begin to have a voice and men to see them as equal and important.
What we would really like to portray with this show is that the woman complements the man, and that she's not his slave, not his inferior.
I asked the National Ballet dancers, I just talked to them for the first 2 days, no dancing, no rehearsal, just talking. But it was these kinds of personal conversations and hearing different women talk about their lives that helped me direct the project.
Carmen says the project, called Dancing to Respect, uses dance as an expressive and cathartic way to explore the power relationships between the sexes and how they play out in society. The storyline centres on a village where the men rule and the women who are dominated work and do as they are told, at least in the beginning.
Plus rapide when you go this way.
Carmen and the dancers transform everyday activities, like women having to catch fish for dinner, into choreography for the story.
The dancers worked on the choreography and they knew the story, and it was bit by bit with them. I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that I was the choreographer. We worked together to kind of build this ballet.
On the toes.
But Carmen says she knew they had little hope of achieving their goal of changing perceptions without the support of the ballet's male dancers like Hakim Simba.
I think that with my dancing, I help people who cannot talk about it, who cannot express their feelings. And by dancing, at least I help them in some way.
The men were amazing and pretty insightful.
2.
I gave them kind of difficult tasks when we were building the pieces.
But the question remained, how would the performance and their message be received? Finally, after nearly a month of intensive work, the ballet was ready for its premiere. Opening night at the Halle de la Gombe in Kinshasa. As people arrive and the theatre fills up, the audience is not quite sure what to expect.
Et ce soir, les femmes sont à l'honneur.
Backstage, the dancers warm up, running through last-minute moves. It's showtime, and perhaps no one is more nervous than the visiting director. The lights go on, the dance begins. The struggles between the genders play out in front of the audience. But over the course of the story, the relationship between men and women begin to change as the village women stand up for themselves and slowly gain respect.
The world kind of reverses, the roles reverse. It was an opportunity to open minds up. These are Congolese dancers showing these ideas. That makes the message more powerful.
It's a message that seems well received by the audience and caught the attention of the Congolese press. But Carmen knows that this is just one performance in one country. She hopes this collaboration here spreads awareness of gender inequality and rape far beyond the walls of this theatre and may become part of a bigger project worldwide.
I think paying attention to heavy issues doesn't necessarily mean that it's mournful. It's the beginning of an awareness, and an approaching it with a positive perspective is exciting.